Hello, everyone. Welcome to another live recording of the Managing Partners Podcast. My name is Kevin Daisey, and I'll be your host, also the founder of Array Digital. We help law firms with web and organic search. Today, I have a really cool guest, a little bit different for you guys today. So you really tune in and listen to what Sam has to offer. And we want to hear about his story, what he's up to, a lot of cool things, a lot of amazing things that he's doing. So you're going to be impressed, probably taking a lot of notes. And obviously, feel free to check him out, connect with him. Website is just below if you're watching and tuning in on video, legalfunnel.com. If you're listening on the podcast, it's legalfunnel.com. So check him out, see what he's all about. But do that after that. So let's right now talk to Sam here and learn what he's doing.
Should I share how I got here?
Well, yeah. So thanks for joining me, Sam, and I appreciate it. So first question I ask everyone, tell us about yourself and, kind of what your journey's been, and then tell us how you got to where you are right now and what you're up to.
So I'm pretty much a virtual lawyer. And when I started my law firm 7 years ago, I basically had to teach myself how to get clients and be able to grow a successful law firm. And at the time, I had no mentor. I had no sources of learning how to be able to do that. So I basically started self-learning from YouTube and reading a lot of books to learn how to, again, generate clients and, be able to do that, grow a law firm. And my epiphany came when I read the Tim Ferriss' 4-Hour Workweek book, when I got exposed to 3 key principles: the virtual model,
Great book.
be able to run your business from anywhere in the world. Second was automated, to be able to create a law firm that could essentially run itself so that I don't have to be the business operator every day. The third part is scalable. Scalable means that it's able to grow very quickly without you necessarily doing more work. So instead of me needing to meet with clients, let me create one video that I could share with leads or my prospects or even my clients to get them moving forward. And at that point, when I got exposed to it, I fell in love with it. And I made a promise to myself. I'm like, any business decision I make for my law firm has to align with those 3 key principles. It had to be virtual, it had to be automated, and it had to be scalable. Fast forward, I applied all those concepts plus the 4th concept of leverage, be able to just use a lot of technology, marketing, media, content, things like that to be able to replicate myself over and over. Now I have 7 virtual law firms that are all active, that are able to generate clients every single day, on a mass scale, and create the systems for the clients to come in, get served, or referred out. I'm able to kind of replicate that over. And then also at the same time, I've been able, for the past 3 years, be able to pass on how I've been able to do that to other law firm owners. Very practical steps, not just sharing just ideas. These are like actual practical things that I'm currently doing for myself that I share and pass on to other people. And the difference is, again, very practical and straight to the point of those little secrets.
Well, that's amazing. I mean, so everyone listening in, maybe you have a small law firm, maybe you're thinking about starting a law firm, maybe you're just coming out of law school, maybe you've been doing it for 50 years, but I think you can learn a lot from what Sam has to share. And so, Sam, where are you actually physically located?
I'm in Los Angeles, but as much as I'm concerned, I could be placed anywhere and I could be able to operate it from anywhere in the world.
Yeah, so isn't that great? So I'm in Virginia Beach, Virginia, which is on the whole other side of the country from where Sam's sitting. We're on the show right now. We're recording this. No problem. It's clear. We can talk to each other. He's running 7 law firms, completely virtual, from Los Angeles. So maybe that opens your mind up to what's possible versus just your little city or town that you're in. So not just owning the businesses. You're a fan of Russell Brunson, funnels, ClickFunnels. I don't know if anyone's familiar with that, but take a look. But if you look behind Sam right there on the wall, tell us a little bit about what those represent.
So basically, ClickFunnels, which is a software that allows you to create these pages or funnel pages to be able to drive your leads and turn them to clients. I got exposed to that. I'm like, wait, I could maybe apply this for my law firm, which is an idea. And I started, play around and experimenting with it. And all of a sudden I started realizing, wait, this works. I could use these funnel pages to be able to drive people to take my desired action, which is basically go schedule a call with me. And let me also use these automation ways to be able to follow up with you automatically to get you signed up. And it worked. So I was able to make $1 million online for my first law firm. That one took me 5 years. But for the first time I did it, I kind of figured it out. So I was able to duplicate it. It took me 2.5 years to get my second $1 million law firm. And then I went on a journey to teach this to other lawyers. So I was able to do $1 million for that. And then I was able to replicate it for my third law firm to be able to do multi-million dollars for all 3 law firms. And the reason why I shared this, it's not just showing it off. It's to honestly, it shows people that it is completely possible. And when I saw other people applying funnel ideas to very obscure niches, I could quickly share a really cool story. I was at the ClickFunnels conference, and when I was receiving this award, they placed us in this room of all these 2 Comma Club winners, basically all the people who made $1 million online using these funnels. And we were in a small group, and we were going around. We're like, "What do you do? What do you do? What do you do?" And then there was this like 19-year-old, essentially kid who was standing there, and he made $1 million. And I'm like, "Okay, so what do you do?" And he started like kind of sniggling and just like not answering. I'm like, "No, really, like, what do you do?" Is like. It's like, I teach moms how to breastfeed. I'm like, what? I'm like, this 19-year-old kid made $1 million teaching moms how to breastfeed. I'm like, if he was able to use that to make $1 million, let alone all of us lawyers who obviously a big market with huge problems that we serve our clients for. No, now at that point, I'm like, I had an epiphany. I'm like, nobody should have any excuse or reason to say this doesn't work, because if he can do it, any lawyer can. And that way, I kind of broke my limiting beliefs, and I started applying for different niches, and I've been able to, again, at this point, apply it across 7 different niches, and these concepts do work. And then now, the cool part is now our lawyers are receiving these 2 Comma Club awards, applying the same concepts, and that's been a really breakthrough for us.
No, I think that's a good story and a good example of, a lot of times we as business owners or say attorneys, they think, oh, that won't work for me. Our business, we're a law firm, so that's not going to work. And they go about, most of the time, a lot of guests I've had on here, a lot of clients that we sign on, they rely on referrals, and they wait and sit back and kind of hope the referrals continue to come in because they do good work. And I think everyone should do that, but it's the minimum. You're doing the minimum amount of work, and you're doing nothing to really drive in traffic. People are looking for your services all day long, but you have to get out in front of them. You have to attract them. So I think it's a good point that this does work, and advertising works, and marketing and SEO, all that stuff works, and it can work for your firm. You just have to get that belief out of your mind that it won't work for you. So, and not just this, but I mean, I've had attorneys on here that very older attorneys, like in their 60s, crushing it on TikTok and getting clients out of it. And you're thinking, that doesn't make any sense. That shouldn't work. And I think for most attorneys, they'd say that won't work. That's not going to work for me. But the ones that say, hey, I'm going to make it work, are the ones that do well.
For sure. And because, right now we're recording this in 2022, because it's so relatively easy to be able to launch a law firm, especially online, that means now much more people are able to go on their own and, launch their law firm. And that barrier of entry is very low. And if you're going to do what everybody else is doing, or, depend on, again, referrals or the sources that has worked for you in the past 10, 20 years, that's going to dry out, and it's a huge risk. And you should never, just as you mentioned, just rely on that. You need to, the only constant is change when it comes to online, and you need to kind of be ahead of it. And the way that I kind of think of it is like a contrarian. If everybody's doing this, then I don't want to be doing that. I want to do the opposite, and I run the opposite direction. So I always think about like what other people are doing, and then try to do the opposite, basically. And it works. It's a good mentality to have.
Yeah, that, and we always do here in my company, me and my partner, is question everything. So like, hey, if someone's like, hey, we do it this way, or we run the books like this, it's always just, well, that's just how everyone does it. So we're always like, well, then we want to look at a different way that we can do it. There's got to be a better way. And, we've done that with a lot of things. And so you question things, why that way? Why the old school way? Why, you got to get outside of think outside the box. So let's get on a couple other things and some of the things that you've done. So other than 7 businesses, you work with lawyers, you're doing this for yourself. So you're not just, talking about it, and you're practicing it yourself, and it works. But you've wrote a new book that's out. So it's Virtual Law Firm Secrets.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that.
New book. This is actually my first podcast talking about it. Virtual Law Firm Secrets is the name of the book. You'll have to just search for it on Amazon, where I basically share all my secret sauces about how I've been able to automate all these law firms so that it runs by itself. at least most parts of it, and how to basically grow your law firm very quickly online. It's a very straight to the point, short book, readable book. It makes you,
Nice.
and it's only been out for a week, and I got so many responses saying, "I already got through the book." I'm like, "Great, you actually read a book because it's
Give me a
short."
review.
Give me a review. Yeah, totally.
Okay, well, everyone, listen, check out that book. So it's Virtual Law Firm Secrets. I'll actually put it on
Virtual
down
Law
at the
Firm
bottom.
Virtual Law Firm Secrets.
Happy to share that out to our newsletter and everywhere else too, for you.
Appreciate it. It'll bring a lot of epiphanies for so many law firm owners. A lot of innovative kind of, I read a lot of books myself, but I've noticed a lot of books are kind of rinse and repeat of the same, more or less same ideas. I've made a point to make sure that it's like very new ideas that haven't really been shared anywhere else. So definitely grab a copy.
So that's Virtual Law Firm Secrets. Is that right? I got the bottom.
Yep.
So I assume you can go on Amazon, Google that, check it out, and honestly, I recommend books all the time to attorneys. If I think it's going to help somebody, I make recommendations. And there's a lot of the books that I recommend to attorneys that I've read and apply to my business. And I've even read some of the law firm books, like because I can probably learn a ton from that book, even though I don't have a law firm.
Totally.
And apply those to my own business. John Morgan from Morgan & Morgan, his book on scaling a law firm applies to my business just like anything else. So it's I always recommend that book. I think it's Can't Teach Hungry. Great book there. So, but check out Sam's book. I assume if you go to Legal Funnel, you probably have it up on there too.
Yeah, people will be able to at least apply to our program to go to Legal Funnel, and actually we're working on a system to pass the book to the people who want it. So yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so let's move on. So let's talk about some of the things that you're doing more specifically. And I wrote down a couple things when we were talking behind the scenes, but we can hit each one of these. But you talked about paid ads. So you're driving people online, and you're scaling law firms online with paid advertising. So tell us a little bit more about what you're doing, what that means for someone tuning in right now that maybe, again, all new to this stuff as far as their law firm is concerned.
Sure. So I basically focus on paid ads for the most part to be able to quickly test whether something works or not. And if it works, great. I basically increase the budget and I try to do more of it. So I could share with your audience my top 3 sources of paid ads. Number 1 has been Facebook ads. Number 2, Google ads. And number 3, I would say either TikTok ads or YouTube ads. It's basically what I've been able to do. Every platform has their own language, a way to kind of create those ads and what to say and all that stuff. So there's a whole formula to it, which I share inside of our program. And but what the cool part about these paid ad sources is once you get it converting and then once you start generating clients, it's nonstop. So much so that none of the law firms, my own law firms or the ones that I refer out to clients for, I've been able to handle the number of leads that they get, and it's always capped and limited by how many staff members they have and how many calls they can take. I've yet to meet a law firm who can handle all the leads that I could generate for them. So,
which if anyone's listening right now, they're going, sign me up for that. So the cool thing about that though is you can be selective, right? You don't need to take every one of them.
Totally. And what we always do is I always ask qualifying questions whenever I'm capturing the lead. It's simple, 2 to 4 questions up front that usually kind of disqualifies or more or less 80% of the leads. From that, then we go reach out, we set up automations for them to get automatically emailed, texted, DCPA compliant, texted, and followed up on with our virtual and in-house intakers who have a goal and objective to hit certain number of clients retained every single month, and be able to scale up very quickly. One of our law firms, we're at 200 clients a month.
Wow.
Which is astronomical from where we started, just by kind of setting up these funnels, the automations, and growing out the intake team very quickly. So yeah, total.
So yeah, and so with that automation too, I mean, by the time they're getting to the intake person, they're already pretty highly qualified, client at that point, right? And then your intake, I assume they do, whatever else they need to do to make sure and get them signed up.
Correct. We already have enough information from the lead up front before we call them, and then we use that information in the calls, which makes it way more likely for them to be retained because we already have the information. We don't have to ask the questions. We just have to sometimes verify it.
That's awesome. So, yeah, and I hear all the time from attorneys that are like, they're worried about advertising. They're worried about things because they say, well, my intake will be crushed, and then I'll have to spend more money to get more people. And they stay small on purpose because they can't field all the crap calls that are coming through, because they've usually probably just had someone doing ads for them on Google that are broad match and just throwing crap out there. So they're getting lots of low level stuff that is not pre-qualified or automation. So they're just like, I'd rather not even do advertising.
Yeah, my mentor calls it anti-business. Some people just want to self-sabotage because they feel like if more clients means more work. But what I've learned is that in order for you to drink a cup, you have to first get the cup, then you fill it up. So that means you have to go first work on your systems, go hire more, create the automation systems, all that stuff up front, and then go turn on your ads. And a lot of people in my first couple of years when I was generating these leads for other lawyers, they would get the calls and they would drop the ball over and over. It was super frustrating. So yes, definitely, again, hire more, have standard operating procedures, have automations in place that takes care of it saves a lot of time of your intake team. If you set that up, then you'll be able to handle as many as your law firm can basically serve, basically.
No, that's a good point. And we've actually had some clients in the past where we're sending them leads through ads or campaigns or organic, and we're looking at the stuff in the reports and we're talking to, hey, we sent you all these today. How's it going? Oh yeah. And we look at it and they didn't even get to the folks for a couple of days or a week. And it's like, they're not able to be available or to sell. And so it doesn't matter if we send them leads. So they got to fix all that first.
Yeah. And I could share some epiphanies because we get these questions all the time. How do you, virtual receptionist service, this, that. So let me quickly show you, because I've been through the evolutions of like figuring this out. Most ideal thing to do is to get a dedicated virtual assistant, a virtual assistant who's just dedicated on taking on your calls for you. So if you get at least minimum five calls a day, then it definitely pays off to have a dedicated virtual assistant who's trained to be able to qualify the leads, to be able to send a retainer agreement and follow up. If you just have a virtual receptionist service who just takes on the message and just relays the message to you, first of all, you'll be less likely to sign up the client because there's been a delay, and two, they're not incentivized, or they're not in charge of following up. And most of your clients will come from a follow-up. People don't take action in the first time, so you need to have somebody who follows up with them. So get a dedicated virtual assistant who can do all that for you. Qualify, send the retainer agreements, and follow up. If you get that, it works. That's what we have inside of all of our law firms. It's people that are dedicated, just get it dedicated to the leads, and it works like a charm.
Is there any recommended service? We've used Ruby, which is a good virtual calling service. They're great and they're professional and they're pretty cost effective. But is there anything you recommend, or should someone just go look out for their own?
I hired virtual assistants directly. That means going straight to them. So again, I try not to rely on these phone services, and they're okay. These services are okay if you're supplementing them.
Sure.
To your own intake team, especially during office hours or things like that. But yeah, ideally your own virtual assistants that you hire directly, which is a whole other conversation.
So to his point, I have 3 virtual assistants that are pretty much full time, handling all kinds of stuff for us. And then we have regular in-house people and admin and stuff too. But just works out. It's worked out so good for us, and so many little things that we just can't get to that they're excited and happy to do, and that is good money for them. So, don't think, well, they're not in my office, that I can't do that. You got to get out of that. Like, get that stuff taken care of. Only take the calls that are going to produce revenue for you. So I think that's great. So another thing you mentioned to me was reviews. So something you've done to generate, and I know this is big for law firms because either A, they don't want to ask, or B, they have to ask, so they just don't do it. It's not part of their process. And so I see a lot of firms that have a couple reviews, and they're not a lot of reviews over time. And from a SEO perspective, local especially, you need to have consistent reviews coming in, and Google's looking at, are they often, were they recent, or is it 3 reviews 5 years ago? So tell us a little bit about what you're doing there to get these reviews and how that's worked out.
Sure. So for my first law firm, Mollaei Law, if you want to go Google it right now, I have 3,195 5.0 star Google reviews. These are all real reviews. Every single one was real. I never even had to ask any of my friends to be able to leave me a review. And that started off with, I got a 1-star review about, I would say, 5 years ago. Wow. And at the time, I had no idea who it was, and I still to this day don't know who it was. I'm assuming it's just one of my competitors. And at the time, I only had like 4 reviews. So that kind of tanked my reviews. I looked everywhere. I'm like, how can I get rid of this review? And I realized the best defense is a good offense. So that's when I went on offensive to collect as many reviews as I could. And I also had an epiphany early on that the best place to get reviews is on Google, not on Yelp, not on Trustpilot, not on Facebook. What would you collect reviews on those platforms?
Not on Avo or none of those other platforms.
Right?
Yeah.
And all those platforms rely on Google to get their traffic. So why would you go to the second source? But anyways, started collecting right? Started collecting reviews on Google. And ever since then, also, I came up with a very nifty way to be able to ask reviews, which I'll be sharing with your audience shortly. And on automation, that automatically does the asks for me and the follow-ups. So first of all, let's start off with the script. The mistake that a lot of lawyers make is that when they ask for a review, they send the link along with the request. But the problem is that people are inherently lazy. It doesn't matter that you've been an amazing lawyer for the past 2 years. When you finally ask them to do one small favor, people are still lazy, right? Most people don't leave reviews. So instead, what you want to do
It's not a priority.
It's not a priority at all. It doesn't matter basically how nice you were to them for the last 2 years. Instead, what you want to do is to break down the ask into 2 asks. The first question is, hey, do you mind if I send you a link to leave me a review? And that answer is much simpler to answer. More people are going to say yes. And it's a very simple yes. Then once you get the yes, then you send them a link to leave your review. That is very subtle. If you can just do that.
Now they have a responsibility to you.
Yeah. And they committed themselves. So it's a micro commitment to make them way more likely to leave you a review versus just, hey, leave me a review. Here's the link. That's just very hard for people to do. Get a yes. I'll share the actual script. Feel free to take this down and use it. Awesome. Here it is. The first word is personalized. You just say their name. I'd like to ask you for a favor. Would you please mind taking a few moments to write a review for me? Your comments will help others know what to expect when they're looking for the service I offer. Now, here's the kicker. May I please send you a link to leave a review, if that's okay with you? Question mark. You end with that question. Very simple question. And then once they say yes, then you send them another email and you say, great, thank you so much. Here's the link to leave a review. I really appreciate you doing this. I'll be sure to return the favor when you need assistance in the future, which is a little bit more psychology. You scratch my back, I'll scratch your back kind of idea. So that's a specific script. Again, feel free to rewind it back 30 seconds to write that down. And the second part is I use a cool tool called Mixmax, which automatically allows you to send follow-up emails inside of Gmail so that, if they don't respond back to the first email, then automatically it keeps asking them until they respond back. And then once they say yes, then automatically continue sending them the link until they do leave a review. You use that script plus the automation. I promise at least a 40% conversion rate, at least getting 40% of your clients to leave your review. And that's how I've been able to, at least for this law firm, I got over 7,800 clients, 7,000 or 8,000 clients for this law firm. And right now I have 3,000 Google reviews. That's how I have so many reviews.
Yeah, I mean, almost basically half of your clients.
Almost half. Yep.
That's amazing. So I just wrote that down. Everyone listening, I just wrote it down myself because
just implement it. So do it.
We ask for reviews for our clients, and we have, we don't see that many clients. We have 70 clients, and we sign a few a month, right? So, but it's making sure you get those reviews and you ask for them is super important. So and especially if you're a high transaction firm, business law firm, something like that, you're doing smaller things and you might not spend as much time with them. You need to make sure that this is effective. So I think this is great. Yeah.
And reviews are, again, as Kevin shared, very, very, very important, especially in our generation, because again, there's so many law firms and the only way to differentiate yourself is reviews. And second is that reviews is the best conversion booster to turn leads into clients. Anybody who's considering you, that's the biggest thing that's going to, increase that conversion rate. And then the other way that I kind of look at it is it's a very positive feedback loop at the end of your clients being served. The more reviews you get, the more likely to get clients, and the more clients you get, the more reviews you get, and it kind of feeds itself. So if you're missing that kind of the last component part, you're going to stay stagnant. But if you turn it on and you have this automation set up, you're always getting more reviews, which gets you more clients and more reviews. That's how you're able to kind of scale quickly.
No, it's excellent. And not to mention all the other effects it has on, like, again, organic local search. If you're in a city and you got the 3 listings in the map pack, where you fall in that is important. So it helps you in so many ways. And Google invests a lot of money in their platform. So you got to get Google reviews. I think that's a great tip. So yeah, rewind this back, write down that script. I think it's ingenious. I'm going to apply this myself. So I think that's great. Well, Sam, I mean, you shared so much. Let's talk about the book one more time. Make sure people can
go
find that. So, Virtual Law Firm Secrets.
Yeah,
just came out. This is the first time anyone's heard about it.
If you don't mind, I'm going to tease just what the chapters are about, because I feel like people hear these things. So chapter 2 is to how to eliminate distractions and stay focused in a busy world. So a lot of lawyers are very busy and they get distracted left and right by social media, their phone, and emails. I've been able to give a very practical ways to be able to how to cut out those distractions, again, on your phone, social media, and your emails. Chapter 3 is how building the biggest asset for your law firm, which is basically your dream team. How to hire virtual people successfully. Chapter 4, cutting edge automation tools to help you automate your law firm. These are all the different ways that you're able to automate your law firms to be able to save time and money. Chapter 5 is how to break free from email jail and only answer 5% of your emails. This is really cool. A lot of lawyers stuck in their email inbox. I've been able to free myself up from my email inbox. Very cool way that I've been able to do that. And this one only answer 5% of my emails, and it is completely possible. Chapter 6, 100% automated lead follow-up system to help you sign up more clients if you get leads. How to create those lead automation systems. Chapter 7, which we talked about, how to get hundreds of 5-star Google reviews. And chapter 8 and 9, 8 and 9, there are a lot of mindset kind of shift things that I've noticed that make a big impact for our law firm owners. If I drive those 2 ideas into your head, then you'll to again grow much faster. So a lot of secrets buried in this book.
Well, I think that's a no-brainer for everyone to go take a look at that. I mean, if you took one, for me, if I read a book, if I take one thing away, I can apply. It's worth its weight in gold. But usually you want to pick it back up, read it again. Oh, there's another thing. I got some books where I've read them multiple times and just keep getting more stuff out of it. And so it sounds like there's tons of good stuff in there. And if you're not ready to do a virtual law firm, you're not ready to do some of these things, but some of these things you need to start applying. You need to start looking at getting away from just referrals. It's just not going to work for the long haul. And you said something about where, that's going by the wayside, and you got to look at some of these, depending on where you are. A lot of new folks are moving into cities and moving out of cities and moving around, and those referral sources aren't going to be always there. If I move next door to you and I don't know you, I'm not going to ask you for a law firm referral. I'm going to go to Google, or I'm going to search, or I'm going to be on Facebook or YouTube. And now I'm either going to get scooped up by someone like yourself or someone that's going to be at the top of the searches that's going to be found. So all good tips, Sam. Anything else you want to share before we wrap up?
If you're a law firm owner, would love to talk to you. So all you have to do if you're interested in these things, just go to legalfunnel.com to be able to, thank you, Kevin, to be able to book a call with us so we can tell you more about the program. I've been doing this for 3 years. We have over almost 400 lawyers who've been through our program, sharing all these secret sauces and helping them implement these things. And also, if you've been somebody who's been following Kevin and Array Digital for the last couple of months, maybe the last couple of years, definitely just go book a call, just a simple conversation. I'm sure you'll be able to provide good advice up front, even if sometimes you can't take them on as clients, Kevin. You give them good advice. It's 100%. Free. Go book a call with Kevin. Yeah, risk free, pretty much.
No, I appreciate it. Yeah, I would say, reach out to Sam, go to legalfunnels.com, see what his program's about. Take a look at it, sign up for it, or at least give them a call. Obviously for us, tune into the podcast. If you just have questions about what we do, maybe you're starting a new firm and you're like, I don't even know where to start. Go to our website, go to arraylaw.com, or reach out to me on LinkedIn, Kevin Daisey. I always check my LinkedIn. I respond to people. And if you just have questions, I talk to firms all the time. I talked to one the other day. She speaks Spanish. She's down in Miami, has all Spanish speaking clients. Her budget's only $600 a month. That's not something we can work with, but we're putting together some program stuff for her. We're gave her a plan of where she can grow and get to where she needs to go, so that we either can help her or she's just going to grow on her own. But I see a lot of folks that are stuck in that spot. They're like, well, I can't hire anybody. I can't spend advertising dollars. What do I do? And they're just kind of stuck. But they're great attorneys. They care about their clients. So, talk to either one of us and we'll help you out. And I think Sam's program will definitely get you going.
Yeah, something has to give. For most people who feel stagnant, you have to do things differently. If you can't expect different results doing the same thing. So go mix it up. Go talk to more people, spend more money, do innovative ways. The most successful lawyers that I see are just doing more, and that because they're not scared of new change, new things. So yeah, definitely have those conversations.
Excellent. Well, Sam, thank you so much for sharing a lot of good stuff here. So yeah, you probably have to watch this episode again. It's going to be available on our YouTube, on my LinkedIn, on Facebook. We'll have a live event. If you're watching this now, it's already been put out. It'll be in our newsletter, but it'll live up on our website, arraylaw.com/podcast. It'll also be up on our YouTube channel. And then Sam, I'm going to give him the download. He's going to put it out for his own purposes. So connect with Sam, connect with me. If you got any questions, we'd love to talk to you and see how we can help. So Sam, stay on with me. We'll talk backstage. Everyone else, have a great day. Crush it. Think differently. Go download that book or buy that book. I send my cart right now in Amazon. I'm going to read it myself. I don't even run a law firm, but I know I'm going to learn some stuff from it. So Sam, thanks so much, everyone.